Hello, my friends, fiends. We are going to look at books from the library of Super Monster City. I know there are a million books about comic books, the history of comic books, the creators of comic books, the heroes of comic books. I'm going to look at 4 today. Please send me your additions to this list. Please send me the ones that influence you, the ones you remember reading as a kid. This came out. It's Steranko's History of Comics, Volume 1. Now, it's an amazing book back in the day when there weren't a lot of books about comics. And of course, Steranko is an artist who worked for Marvel in the 60s. He drew the cover, and my God, I wish that we could find a poster of this cover. He came out with a volume 2 as well. And what he does, Steranko starts with the bloody pulps and Tarzan. Not a lot of color stuff in here, but it goes through the real blood and guts beginnings of comic books. Again, this would be the golden age. And when we were in the 60s, that was the age preceding us, and we couldn't get enough knowledge about what came first. So Steranko's History of Comics. Then we're going to look at another book that came out a little bit later that I loved as a kid, again, about the golden age heroes. So this book talks about Superman and Captain Marvel, and it also talks about Wonder Woman, the Human Torch, Captain America. And this is a great book. If you get a chance to get this book, this also has color in it. So you get to have the comic strip, the comic books themselves. Again, the great comic book heroes. This was back in the day when we were starved for anything about comic books. It was a fledgling collector idea then. It was like, who was crazy enough to collect comic books? Who was crazy enough to write a book about collecting comic books and about heroes? Now I'm going to show you another one that I absolutely love. I think everyone should try and find this. This is Stan Lee's Amazing Marvel Universe. What I love about this is you get to hear Stan Lee talk. Okay, so like here we go. We're going to go to page 36, which is right here. And then you press this.
One of my all-time favorite stories that was illustrated by Steve Ditko was the Spider-Man story called The Final Chapter. Peter, or Spider-Man, found himself trapped in a subway tunnel with some huge something, a big piece of iron that was holding him down, and he couldn't escape without lifting that off him. And it looked as though he was...
So I can't go through it. This has literally about, how many chapters in here? Let me ask. Let me look. It's got over 54 chapters with Stan Lee. No, over 68 chapters of Stan Lee telling you in his own voice and his own words the history of Marvel Comics and their universe. If you can find this, I found it in a bin somewhere at Barnes & Noble, and it was cheap. And every aspect of Marvel Comics is told by the creator of Marvel Comics, pretty much. And again, you can say, well, but that wasn't the way it really was. And Roy Thomas wrote it. Stan Lee does the commentary. Another amazing book you should have. One more, and then we'll get off of this topic. Again, the library of any comic fan, I'm sure you've got a million, jillion comic book collectors out there. But tell me what you like. Look out, it's Baby Boomer Comics. Whereas some of these books were about the Golden Age, I found this one written real tongue-in-cheek about the Silver Age. And if you were there in the Silver Age, this is what the important hallmarks were. Like when Superman raced the Flash, or when Thor met Lady Sif, or like, all sorts of stuff. And there's pop quizzes in here, and there's moments of importance and earthquake-shattering stuff. And this is the kind of book that if you were there in the 60s or you want to know about the 60s, take a look. Again, we're at Super Monster City. We endorse us sharing our collective consciousness, whether it's about books or toys or whatever. We do museum exhibits, and we want to hear from you. Maybe you want us to come to a museum or a gallery by you. Look at our website, supermonstercity.com. We'd love to hear from you. Come on, tell us some stories. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.